The passenger no one recognized. 800 words approximately. The gate of Star Cruise 9 was glowing with soft blue lights. Passengers lined up with expensive clothes, glowing suitcases, and robot assistants. This was not a regular flight. It was a luxury interplanetary ship heading to Mars Prime. Everyone looked rich. Everyone acted rich. Then she walked in. A tall black woman in plain gray clothes. No makeup, no jewelry, no assistant. Just a small brown bag over her shoulder and calm eyes that scanned the room like a security drone. Flight attendants at the counter looked confused. One whispered, "Is she lost?" The other shrugged. "Probably economy. Doesn't look like she belongs here." The woman said nothing. She gave a soft smile and handed over a boarding pass. The pass blinked green. First class. VIP priority. The staff blinked. Their smile became stiff. One of them forced a polite voice. Welcome aboard, ma'am." Inside the ship, everything was clean, gold, and high-tech. Seats turned into beds. Food was made by chef bots. There were even meditation pods for stress. The woman walked past business class, then stepped into first class. Only 10 seats, all empty. She sat down in seat 1A, placed her small bag under her seat, and looked outside the window as the ship began to power up. In the cockpit, the pilot was already annoyed. His name was Captain Warwick, proud, old school, and rude when he thought no one important was listening. A steward came in and whispered, "Sir, there's a woman in 1A. Doesn't match the manifest photos. No assistant. Wears cheap clothes." Warwick raised an eyebrow. "Black woman?" "Yes, sir. Probably a stowaway or some idiot who stole a pass. I'll deal with it after takeoff." 30 minutes later, the ship was cruising smoothly in low orbit. Stars shined outside the windows. Captain Warwick unbuckled and walked down the golden hallway to first class. A few other VIPs had now arrived and were sipping crystal drinks. But all eyes were on the woman in gray, calmly reading something on a paper tablet. Warwick stopped in front of her. "No offense, ma'am," he said loudly, "but this seat is reserved for top-tier passengers only." She looked up slowly. "Yes, I know." He smirked. "Then you won't mind showing your ID. Real VIPs don't travel alone with bags from Earth's lower rings." The other passengers chuckled. One woman whispered, "This is embarrassing." The black woman reached into her bag, slowly, calmly, no fear in her eyes. She pulled out a small silver cube. It blinked once in her hand. The ship froze. Lights dimmed. AI voice activated. "Welcome, Inspector Celia Ward. Level 10 clearance confirmed. Full system control granted." Captain Warwick stepped back, confused. "What is this?" he snapped. "You hacked the ship." The woman stood up. Her voice was still calm. "No, I'm not a hacker." She looked him straight in the eyes. "I'm not your passenger." She held the cube up. A hologram of the ship's layout appeared. "I'm your next inspection." Suddenly, red lines flashed over parts of the ship in the hologram. Unauthorized system edits detected. Hidden messages found in cockpit log. Crew violation. Passenger profiling based on race. The crew and nearby VIPs were frozen in silence. Captain Warwick tried to speak. This must be some mistake." The woman stepped forward. "No mistake. You're being audited." She pressed the cube again. The ship's AI locked the cockpit. Manual flight controls disabled until inspection complete. All communications routed through secure channel. Audit in progress. Warwick's face went red. "Who do you think you are?" She didn't blink. "I'm the reason your license still exists, or doesn't." In the back of the ship, a flight attendant fainted. 2 passengers started recording on their holocams. The AI voice echoed again. "Audit report will begin in T-5 minutes." The woman, Inspector Celia Ward, sat back down, calm as ever. She picked up her tablet again, turned one page, and whispered, "Let's see what secrets you've been hiding up here." Secret orders and silent enemies. Approximately 800 words. The ship was quiet, but tense. After the system announced the audit, the mood on the luxury flight changed. No one was laughing now. The lights had dimmed slightly. The music in the background had stopped. Even the food bots had paused. Inspector Celia Ward sat still, her eyes focused on the glowing cube in her hand. She wasn't reading anymore. She was scanning. The AI spoke again. Audit level. Red. System logs being decrypted. Captain Rorik stood outside the locked cockpit, still trying to look confident, but his hands were shaking. In the crew's private room, two attendants whispered, "Who is she really?" "Some kind of inspector, maybe from Galactic Transport Control." "No way. Those people don't travel alone, and they don't carry gear like that." One of them tapped the wall twice. Behind the panel, a secret screen lit up. Incoming message. Cody line 9 ACTIV. Shut her down. Do not leave the ship. The screen blinked. Both crew members looked at each other. One of them whispered, "She wasn't supposed to come on this flight." The other pulled out a thin black glove, illegal tech used for system override. Meanwhile, Celia was already 5 steps ahead. She had seen this kind of reaction before. She tapped her cube. A small voice came through. "Agent Ward, you triggered a red audit. Are you safe?" "Yes," she replied, "but someone else is trying to shut me out. Data stream from the ship is blocked. Can't receive full files." Celia narrowed her eyes. "They've got an inside jammer." She looked around first class. Only a few passengers were watching her. Most were pretending to scroll their holoscreens, trying to look calm. But one man in a red suit looked too calm. She marked him quietly in her cube. Unknown. Suspect. Suddenly, a sharp pain hit her head. The cube screen glitched for half a second. System interference detected. Celia stood up, stepped into the hallway, and touched the wall panel. Nothing happened. The panel was dead. They were trying to cut her off from the ship's AI. Back in the cockpit, Captain Rorik got a message on his personal wrist device. "Wipe logs, jam signal. If she sends that data off ship, we all burn." He looked around nervously, then whispered, "Override level. Captain's emergency." The screen blinked. Denied. Inspection in progress. He slammed his fist against the controls. Celia moved quickly now. She opened a hidden slot on the cube and pulled out a tiny silver chip. She pushed it into a side port on the wall. The lights blinked back on. The AI returned. Inspector override accepted. Anti-jammer activated. A wave of pressure passed through the ship as the jammer was cancelled. The illegal systems hidden inside the ship's walls went dark. Celia spoke firmly. "Ship, scan for unauthorized signals. Log all private messages for the past 12 hours. Scanning. Illegal transmissions found from crew section 2B and passenger seat 7C. Celia turned around. The man in the red suit stood up slowly. Their eyes met. He smiled. "You're making trouble, Inspector. That's dangerous on long flights." She didn't move. "You're not a real passenger." He smirked. "Neither are you." In a flash, the man grabbed a flight knife from the food tray near him and lunged. The other passengers screamed. But Celia was ready. She ducked, twisted his arm, and slammed him against the side panel. The AI sealed the section. Passenger 7C identified as wanted smuggler. Kale Drin. Crime level. Black. Security bots rolled in from the floor panels and locked him in stasis. Captain Rorik saw it all from the hallway monitor. He knew it was over. He whispered, "We're done." Back in first class, Celia sat back down. The passengers were silent. No one dared to look at her the same way now. She tapped the cube. A message went out across the stars. "Corruption confirmed. Smuggler captured. Crew under investigation. Full audit continues." She whispered to herself, "I came for a quiet inspection, but something bigger is hiding in this ship." The AI responded, "Would you like to continue the deep scan?" She looked out the window at the stars and said, "Yes, let's see what else they buried in the dark." Turbulence in the system, approximately 800 words. The stars outside the windows of Star Cruise 9 burned bright and still. But inside the ship, chaos was quietly growing. Inspector Celia Ward sat in her first-class seat, the encrypted cube glowing in her hand. Her calm eyes watched the data stream scroll in midair. Logs, communications, hidden codes, all illegal. Behind her, two security bots dragged the captured smuggler from seat 7C to the lower holding bay. The other passengers avoided eye contact. Even the flight crew had gone quiet. But something didn't feel right. Her instincts, sharp from years of undercover work, whispered. This was too easy. In the cockpit, Captain Rorik was trying one last trick. He pulled out a hidden device from under his chair, a manual override key, banned in the new fleet. He slid it into the port. A small red light blinked. Manual Protocol C-17 ready. Do you wish to engage turbulence system manually? He hesitated, then whispered, engage. Suddenly, the ship shook. In first class, trays clattered, drinks spilled, passengers gasped. Celia narrowed her eyes. The screen on her cube flickered, but the AI stayed active. Warning, unexpected turbulence. No storms or objects detected. She stood quickly and walked to the hallway. A panel opened on the wall, showing the ship's outer cameras. Nothing. The stars were calm. Space was empty. This wasn't real turbulence. Someone was forcing it. Celia moved fast. She reached the engineering bay, just past the crew quarters. A young mechanic looked up in surprise. Ma'am, this area is restricted. She showed her cube. Not for me. He backed off immediately. Celia tapped a terminal and ran a scan. Flight balance. Stable. Engine temp. Normal. Turbulence source. Internal system loop. Possible manual trigger detected. Cockpit control. She frowned. Rorik. Meanwhile, Captain Rorik looked proud of himself. He smiled and turned to the co-pilot. She's tough, but even inspectors can't do much if the ship loses control. Maybe we say there was a technical problem. Blame it on her interference. The co-pilot looked nervous. Sir, what if she finds out? She won't. By the time this audit finishes, she'll be off the ship. And if not, we make sure she never sends the final report. Back in engineering, Celia pulled up restricted flight data. She found something worse than she expected. There were two flight maps running. One was the public path, Earth to Mars Prime. The other was hidden, a detour toward an illegal space zone near asteroid belt 47R, a known smuggler wrote. The detour started in 1 hour. Celia pressed the cube hard. AI, confirmed destination. Public destination, Mars Prime. Real path, rerouted via sector 47R. Destination contains blacklisted cargo exchange station. Her voice was steady. AI, who authorized the change? The answer chilled her. Captain Rorik, 3 hours before launch. Back in first class, some passengers were starting to complain. Why is the ship shaking? This never happens on premium flights. Celia returned to her seat and turned to them calmly. There is no storm. The ship is being forced into turbulence, and we're not going to Mars yet. The passengers looked stunned. What do you mean? She stood. I mean, someone is using this ship to move something illegal, and they tried to scare me off. But now, I'm going to stop it. She sent a full command to the AI. Lock the cockpit. Freeze all manual overrides. In the cockpit, Rorik's controls shut down. System error, he shouted. Captain access revoked. Inspection override in effect. He slammed the console. She locked me out. Celia walked toward the cockpit, slow and calm. As she stepped in front of the locked door, she spoke aloud. Rorik, this is your final warning. Open the cockpit, or I open your record to the Galaxy Council. There was silence for a moment. Then his voice came through the speaker. You don't understand, Inspector. This flight wasn't just for cargo. It's for something bigger. Celia's eyes narrowed. What? Rorik's voice dropped lower. You'll find out soon enough. And then, the lights flickered again. But this time, it wasn't just turbulence. It was something deeper in the ship. Something alive. The hidden manifest. Approximately 800 words. The ship's lights flickered again. But this time, it wasn't because of turbulence. Celia Ward froze outside the sealed cockpit door. Her encrypted cube vibrated in her hand. The ship's AI voice was slower than before, like it was trying to fight something. Inspector. Warning. Unauthorized presence. On board. Presence. She asked calmly, but her eyes narrowed. Show me. The AI hesitated. Then a new window opened in the air. Inside the cargo bay, something moved. Something not human. Celia tapped fast. AI. Play cargo manifest for this flight. A list of items appeared. Medical supplies. Luxury food for VIPs. Private luggage. Cryo chamber. Classified. She zoomed in on the last one. The tag was locked. No name. No scan history. Just one label. BioTSTX7. Due not OP in. Her voice was sharp now. Who approved that cargo? The screen flashed red. Captain Warwick. Down in the cargo bay, a soft beeping sound echoed. The cryo chamber shook slightly. Inside the glass, something with claws twitched. Its skin was black and shiny, like metal and flesh mixed together. It had no eyes. But somehow, it was listening. Celia turned and walked fast toward the rear of the ship. The passengers stared as she passed. Some of them whispered. A child pointed and said, "Is she a cop?" But she didn't stop. The door to the cargo hold hissed open with her cube's command. Cold air rushed out. She stepped inside. Rows of crates lined the walls. The cryo chamber stood alone at the center, wrapped in red warning tape. Chamber life signs. Active, the AI said quietly. Celia scanned it. Heart rate, brain activity, oxygen feed. This wasn't a dead test subject. It was alive, awake, and trying to get out. Suddenly, footsteps behind her. She spun around fast. It was the co-pilot. He raised both hands. "I didn't know what was in there," he said. "I swear." "Then why did you let it on the ship?" He looked down. The captain said it was for research. Said it had permission from Mars Council. Celia frowned. That council doesn't exist. It was shut down 2 years ago for black market tech smuggling. The co-pilot's face turned pale. I think we've been tricked." The cryo chamber hissed. A small crack appeared in the glass. Celia raised her cube. "AI, override the power to this chamber. Shut it down now." Unable to comply. Lockout in effect. Another override. Someone had locked her out again. Suddenly, Captain Warwick's voice echoed through the speaker system. "Inspector Ward, you're wasting your time. That creature isn't cargo." Celia looked up sharply. "Then what is it?" "A deal," he said coldly. "One that was going to make me rich. A living weapon. One of a kind. Built to destroy and obey." She shook her head. "You smuggled a bioweapon onto a passenger ship." "Yes," he said proudly. "Because no one would suspect first class. No one, until you showed up." Celia turned to the co-pilot. "Get out of here. Lock the doors behind you." He ran. She stepped closer to the chamber. The crack in the glass spread wider. Steam hissed from the seal. Inside, the creature's claws scratched the glass. "Aye," she whispered. "Scan for escape plan." Where was Rorik planning to release this thing? Answer: Shuttle Pod 3. Destination: Outpost Helix, Asteroid Zone. That's where he planned to sell it. Suddenly, the chamber door burst open. A long claw swung out. Fast. Celia dodged just in time. She rolled behind a crate and tapped her cube. A shock field activated around the chamber, a backup system hidden in her inspection tools. The creature howled, not with a voice, but a high-frequency sound that shook the walls. It smashed its claw against the energy field, but couldn't break through. Yet. "Containment field active," the AI reported. Estimated time before failure: 8 minutes. Celia stood, breathing hard. She looked straight at the creature through the energy field. "You're not getting off this ship." Then she turned and ran toward the control deck. She had one last option. If the captain wouldn't open the cockpit, she would break into it herself. Cockpit siege. Approximately 800 words. CEO Ward ran down the corridor, the encrypted cube glowing in her hand. Behind her, alarms blared. The creature in the cargo bay was getting stronger. The AI had warned her. The containment field was failing. 8 minutes, maybe less. She passed confused passengers and ignored their questions. This wasn't the time to explain. She had one goal now: take control of the ship. Up ahead was the cockpit door. Steel, locked, secure. Captain Rorick's voice came through the intercom again, smooth and calm. "You don't understand, Inspector. That creature is worth more than this ship, more than your whole department." Celia didn't answer. "They'll call me a criminal," he continued, "but soon they'll need me. When the war starts, when Earth begs for power, they'll remember who created the future." Celia raised her cube and scanned the lock. Scan denied. Manual override active. She sighed. "All right then," she said, and pulled out her emergency decoder pin. Inside the cockpit, Rorick paced nervously. He watched her on the security feed. She was kneeling by the door, calm, focused, working silently. "She's really going to break in," he muttered. The co-pilot, now tied up in the corner, groaned. "You should have let her run the audit." Rorick scoffed. She was never going to let this go. He looked at the screen showing Pod 3, his personal escape shuttle. The timer showed 6 minutes to launch. "If she breaks through," he whispered, "I'm gone." Celia tapped the last code into the panel. A soft beep. Manual lock deactivated. The door slid open. She stepped inside slowly, face unreadable. Rorick spun around. "Stay back." He had a plasma cutter in his hand. Not a weapon, but dangerous enough. She held up her cube. "Ship AI," she said firmly. "Record visual and audio log. Recording now." Rorick laughed bitterly. "You think you've won?" "I think you're desperate," she replied. He waved the cutter. One cut to the flight deck, and we all crash. Celia didn't blink. "You won't. You want to escape, not die." He froze. She took a slow step forward. "You made your ship a weapon. You lied to your crew. You smuggled a creature that can't be controlled. You tried to break me with turbulence, fear, and arrogance." She stepped even closer. "But you forgot one thing." He narrowed his eyes. "What?" "I own the inspection license, but I also sit on the fleet board." Rorick's hand shook. Celia continued. "Every second of this flight has been monitored. The council knows. The evidence is live." Suddenly, the escape pod timer beeped. "Pod 3 launch in 5 minutes." Rorick turned and ran. Celia chased him out of the cockpit, through the upper hole. He reached the hatch. But just as he opened it, she threw her encrypted cube. It hit the control panel and disabled the launch. Sparks flew. "Pod 3 disabled. Unauthorized access detected." Rorick screamed in rage. He turned back to Celia, swinging the cutter. But she was faster. She hit him with a stun baton hidden in her jacket. He dropped like a stone. Breathing hard, Celia picked up her cube. "AI. Confirm Captain Override revoked." "Confirmed. Lock down escape pods. Freeze all flight manual controls. Prepare for emergency landing on Mars Prime." "Confirmed. Estimating arrival in 3 hours." She sighed in relief. But then the AI added, "Warning. Containment field in cargo bay has collapsed." Her eyes widened. The creature was loose. Celia looked down at Rorick's unconscious body. "You brought this thing aboard," she said quietly. "Now I'll have to finish what you started." She turned and ran toward the rear of the ship once more. The corridors were quiet now. Passengers had locked themselves in their cabins. The crew was hiding in the galley. In the distance, she heard it, the soft metallic clink of claws scraping the floor. She passed a broken camera, a long gash in the wall. The creature was hunting, and it knew she was coming. The chase through the stars. Approximately 800 words. The lights in the ship were dim now. Emergency mode. Celia Ward moved silently through the hallway, her cube glowing faintly in her hand. The creature was out, somewhere between the cargo bay and the crew deck. The AI had tried to track it, but the system was damaged. Motion sensors were offline. Cameras had been slashed. Nothing but static. Inspector Ward, the AI said, voice tense. I detect heat signatures in the ventilation tunnels. Which way is it moving? Toward passenger deck, section B. Her heart sank. That section had families, children. She picked up her pace. She passed scorched walls, deep claw marks, and a broken food cart. The smell of melted plastic filled the air. Suddenly, a scream echoed through the hallway. High, sharp, terrified. She ran faster, turned the corner, and stopped. A family was trapped at the end of the corridor, a mother shielding her child, a father holding a broken metal bar. And standing between them and escape was the creature. It was fully awake now, 7 feet tall, long black limbs. Its head had no eyes, just deep ridges and pulsing lines of light. It breathed in harsh, fast bursts, like a machine overheating. Its claws scraped the floor. It took a step toward the family. Celia raised her voice. Hey! The creature paused. Its head turned. It sensed her. She tossed her cube into the air. The AI activated a flash shield. A burst of white light exploded. The creature screamed, soundless but violent. It turned and leaped toward her. Celia ran. She ducked into a side hallway. The creature crashed behind her, fast and brutal. Walls cracked. Lights burst above her. She kept running. Aye, she said, breathless. Lock section B blast doors. Keep passengers inside. Redirect power to hallway defenses. Working. System delay, 30 seconds. She turned a corner, slid behind a support beam, and waited. The creature stomped past, sniffing, hunting. It could smell her. She had to be smarter. Just as it passed, she pulled a magnetic charge disk from her belt. Quietly, she slid it onto the wall. AI now. The lights shut down for 1 second. And when they came back, the disk exploded. Not enough to kill, but enough to knock the creature off its feet. It slammed into the far wall, dazed. Celia ran again, heading for the ship's tech lab. Inside the lab, she locked the doors and activated full defense protocols. The AI scanned her, vitals unstable, heart rate elevated, minor bruises. She sat down and opened a hidden panel beneath the desk. Inside was a silver case, sealed, old, authorization required. She placed her hand on the scanner. Inspector Ward, Level 9 access confirmed. The case opened. Inside was a small device, shaped like a star, glowing with blue light. A Mayo disruptor. Illegal, experimental, but designed for creatures like this. Aye, she said, standing again. Can you track it now? Yes. Target approaching mid-bay corridor. Intercept route. North corridor, 2 levels up. Service tunnel open. She grabbed the disruptor and moved. As she climbed the ladder, her mind flashed back to years ago, when she worked in black site labs, when she helped design the first genetic experiments. Back then, she thought she was helping Earth win peace. Instead, she'd helped create monsters. And now, one of those monsters was on her ship. She exited the tunnel just in time to see it. The creature stood in front of the med bay, claws raised, facing a young nurse who had stayed behind to help the wounded. Celia didn't hesitate. She raised the disruptor. Target locked. The AI whispered. She fired. A thin blue beam struck the creature's chest. It froze. Its body spasmed violently, limbs locking, head twitching. Then it dropped to the floor, motionless. The nurse backed away, shaking. Is it dead? Celia walked over, still holding the device. No, just frozen. For now. She tapped her cube. AI, activate security field. Full containment. Call Mars Prime Security to intercept on landing. Confirmed. Arrival in 45 minutes. Celia sat down against the wall, breathing heavily. The nurse spoke softly. Who are you really? Celia looked at her badge, then at the creature. "I'm not just an inspector," she said. "I'm one of the people who built this world." She stood up slowly. "But now, I'm the one cleaning it up." Judgment after landing. Approximately 800 words. The luxury ship, Starliner Gemini, descended toward Mars Prime. The red surface stretched wide beneath them, glowing under thin clouds. Inside, the passengers waited in silence. The panic was over, but tension remained. Whispers filled the cabins. What happened? Why was there a monster? Who is that woman? Only Celia Ward knew the full truth. And now, it was time to reveal it. In the command chamber, Celia stood before the main screen. Her uniform now clean, her encrypted cue recharged. The AI's voice echoed. "Final approach complete. Landing in 2 minutes." Behind her, 2 security bots stood ready. At their feet, Captain Rorik sat cuffed, head lowered. His eyes were hollow. He had lost everything. "You destroyed your career," Celia said coldly. "You wouldn't understand," Rorik muttered. "Earth is dying. We need evolution. Power. You stopped progress." She stared at him. "No, I stopped you." The ship landed smoothly on Mars Prime spaceport. Outside, Fleet Council agents waited in silver armor, weapons lowered, watching. Celia stepped out first. Crowds stared. News drones hovered. The crew followed behind, silent. And then came the shock. The AI announced loudly, "This ship's command has been permanently transferred to Fleet Inspector Celia Ward, ranking executive of Earth-Mars Alliance." The crowd gasped. Even the pilot's crew looked stunned. She was the CEO the whole time. But she flew coach. Celia addressed the crowd. Her voice was calm, but strong. "I boarded this ship undercover after receiving secret reports. The captain was using private cargo missions to move illegal genetic weapons." She paused. "Today, we stopped a disaster, but we also exposed how power can hide behind uniforms." She turned to the press drones. "So let this be clear. Rank isn't about how you dress or where you sit." She looked directly into a camera. "It's about what you protect when no one else is watching." Later, in the council building, Celia entered a grand hearing chamber. Screens lit up around her. Council leaders from Earth, Mars, and the Moon colony all tuned in. The main judge, an older Martian general, looked at her. "We received your live stream. Are all files secured?" Celia tapped her cube. "Full recordings, audio, visual, AI logs, containment data, biological scans." The general nodded. "And the creature?" "Frozen, in a secure vault, ready for transport to the research black site." Another counselor asked, "And Captain Rorik?" Celia turned slightly. "Already sentenced. He'll serve on Titan, mining ice with the others." The judge sat back in his chair. "Inspector Ward, your mission is complete." Celia nodded. "I resign." They all looked up. "Resign?" one asked. "You've done what no one else could." "I've done enough," she replied. "It's time for a new job." "What job?" asked the judge. She smiled slightly. "CEO of the new Civilian Safety Division." 1 week later, back on Earth, a new training center opened in a glowing tower. The sign outside read, "Ward Security. Power belongs to the people." Inside, young cadets trained, some from poor colonies, some from Mars streets, some born on spaceships. They all looked up as Celia entered the room. One cadet raised her hand. "Ma'am, is it true you fought a gene beast alone on a ship?" Celia smiled. "Not alone. I had help. From courage, from truth, from justice." Another cadet laughed nervously. "Is that AI-powered gear you're wearing?" Celia tapped her belt. "Nope," she said. "Just good shoes and sharp eyes." Final scene. Celia walked to her office window, looked up at the sky. Above her, dozens of ships flew toward stars. She whispered to herself, "Let them fly free, but I'll be watching." The screen fades to black. A simple message appears. Power should protect, not control.